Hello, happy Saturday, happy 16th day of Vlogmas. We are here for what is, I think, our third Saturday. I don't know. I think so. Y'all know math is not my strong suit. As I will continue to do, I am going live today on my YouTube channel. I've been doing this at 2 p.m. Eastern since December 1st. We've talked about all kind of stuff. If this is your first time catching a Vlogmas video, I strongly encourage you to go back and look at, there's a Vlogmas, what do you call those things? A Vlogmas playlist where all of the videos we've done over the last 15 days are all there in case you missed one and you want to catch up. Hello to everybody who is here live. I appreciate y'all having me not here just talking to myself. Hello, and thank you to all of the folks who catch the replay. I appreciate y'all too. I'm glad that everybody is enjoying Vlogmas. If by chance you are new here and you have no idea who I am or what the heck is going on, let me introduce myself. My name is Adelia Aborshade, although I'm pretty well known as Picky Girl Travels the World. That's me. About, I guess, 8 years ago, a little bit more than 8 years ago, I decided that I wanted to live life completely on my terms. And for me, that meant a life that was centered around travel. Travel is my number one thing. Everything else comes secondary, including work. And on this channel, we talk about my travels. We talk about my life outside the US. I left the United States 7 years ago. And we also talk about money because the truth is I would not have been able to create the life I have had I not been able to make confident decisions with my money. So those are the things we talk about here. If those are of interest to you, you found your people, you should totally hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified when I go live again, which will be tomorrow at 2 p.m., as I will be doing all the way through December 21st. And today we are continuing with our theme this week about travel. Yesterday, we talked about traveling with a pet. I don't know if Mia is going to come in here or if she's taking a nap. And so today we are going to talk about like bucket list travel, which is an interesting thing for me to talk about because I don't really believe in bucket lists. Um, I have, I've honestly never had a bucket list. I was always somebody, and I haven't kept up with this now, but I was always somebody who had a done it list. I thought it was much cooler to reflect on the cool things I had done, I had been able to achieve, places I had gone, versus having a bucket list. Because I think a lot of folks create a bucket list and they never like set about going to do those things or visit those places. um it's all like I want to, I would love to, but it was never like, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to make this happen. So if you are somebody who does have a bucket list, I am not trying to rain on your parade, not at all. But for me, I was never someone who had a bucket list. But uh, at the end of last month, I got a question that I thought was really interesting. Um, they asked, if money was no object, what are your top 5 international travel destinations and why? And to me, that kind of sounds like, where would those like dream locations and destinations be? So I thought this would be an interesting question to answer. Um, Now, here's the caveat. I I'm the typical traveler. I do love to travel. Some would say, some of y'all who know me know I can't stay home to save my life, no matter what I say. Um, Primarily, I travel by myself. And so that colors a little bit the places that I want to visit. I don't choose locations and destinations based on like what's going to look good on IG because I only halfway post on IG as it is. I the places that I want to visit and the places that I do travel to are really just kind of based on my own interest and my interests are a little weird. I'm a own it. I am a bit of a nerd, particularly when it comes to like geography, history, textiles. So those things often color the places that I choose to visit. Here's the other thing about me. Uh, I don't like anybody having like any kind of say on my travel. And so like once upon a time, back in what, like 2019, I thought I was going to be a travel blogger because I was like, I love to travel. I got this blog. Why not blog about my travels? And something I learned about myself very quickly is when I travel, I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to do activities and choose places based off of, oh, this would be good for the blog. People want a blog post on this. No, I want to go where I want to go. I don't want to feel obligated to produce content based on the place that I go. I don't want because a lot of travel bloggers, I would say most of them make money through sponsorships and brand deals, and that often dictates where they travel. I didn't want that. I didn't want somebody saying, well, you have to stay at this place and you've got to take these photos and you need to write this up. No, I don't like people telling me what to do. I have 40 years of that and I'm over it. So I'm saying all of this to say that when I share y'all my top 5 destinations, they might seem a little strange to you, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. I see. Oh, wait. New life curator. My bucket list has grown since watching you all. I want to visit Southeast Asia. Thanks to Sharon at Sandra at Lacta Legacy. Um, Interesting. Like I lived in Asia for a year and a half, and I think it traumatized me far more than I realized because I cannot muster excitement about visiting Asia. And there are places that like Japan, I had wanted to go, and now I'm just kind of like, "Mm, maybe I will never get there." Um, my bucket list is non-existent. I just want to experience different places and different things. And y'all, it's different strokes for different folks. Okay. So also keep in mind, I'm gonna give y'all the 5 places I would go, particularly if cost was not an issue, because these are a little pricey. Um, I've already told you I'm not a typical traveler. I also do not like the beach. I don't like the sand. I don't like the salt. I don't like the dampness. I don't like heat or hot places, which is a little ironic as somebody from Houston, Texas, which is a place that is both hot and humid. But I'm past that stage of my life. Okay, so here are my 5. What we would call, I think we would call these bucket list destinations if price was no object. These are the 5 places I would go in no particular order. The first, I'm glad you mentioned this, abroad ability. I I think I used to want to go to Antarctica, and then I found out how much it costs. And even for this exercise where I was asked, even if cost was no, there was no limit on that, Antarctica still didn't make my list. And I'm wondering what about that has changed? Because as a geographer, from that perspective, it would be an interesting place to go. But like now, I can't get excited about it. Yes, I am the picky girl. And as some of y'all know, that name came about because I am a picky eater. But the truth is I'm pretty picky about everything. And so I own it. I own it. All right. So, in no particular order on my list, I would spend about a month or two in Finland. Uh, I want to see the Northern Lights. Um, I had attempted to see it previously, and it's one of those things that you can't really predict when they're going to happen. And so I would take about a month or two just hunting the Northern Lights. Why Finland? One, because I have not been there yet. Two, it is supposed to be the best place to see them, particularly around like January. So, because I normally travel with my best friend over Christmas and New Year's, um, there's always in the back of my mind that, like, oh, okay, when we finish that trip, I'm one of these times I'm going to add on some time in Finland. Ideally, I would be able to stay as long as it took to be able to see the Northern Lights. Um, so that was the first thing that came up on my list. The second one is I would like to go back to Iceland, um, but I want to go in the summer. I have been to about 50 countries. Recently, I've been doing a few repeats, like I've gone to Portugal twice, I've gone to Italy twice. Um, I'm sure there's some other place. But like when people ask me what country would you want to go back to, Iceland is always the first one for me. Iceland is gorgeous. One of my most favorite travel memories was there. Uh, I got to stand astride the North Atlantic Ridge where the tectonic plates are created. The magma comes up and cools, and the plates are moving further apart. One of my friends from my graduate program, which was in geography, we went together and just nerded out. And so I would love to go back to Iceland, and I want to go in the summer because I went in March and it was still freezing cold. The waterfalls were still frozen. So, and I've heard that it is incredible in the summer. I want to do the whole sun never setting thing. So the geology and the geography in Iceland is is beautiful. But Iceland is so expensive. Now, I went in 2015, 2016, and like a single slice of pizza, like the bargain thing that we ate, that we found to eat, was a slice of pizza for $6 USD. I'm sure it is far more expensive than that. I think a meal for a single person is probably close to 40, $50 each. I went to Scandinavia the other year. That was expensive. That's again why Finland is on this list. Finland is not a cheap place either. Um, so yeah, yes, it is amazing. I did Iceland back in 2009, right after the government collapse. Powerful trip. The collapse she's referring to, the economic collapse, the what do we call it? The Great Recession. Basically bankrupted the Icelandic government. Yes. Uh, I love this. It feels like how the planet began. Actually, it low key is. So I would, if money was no object, I would go and hang out during the summer because that's also high season in Iceland. So a place that is already expensive would then become ridiculously expensive. So that's why it made this list. Um, Number three is Australia. And not probably for the reason that you're thinking. Again, incredible geography. Um, there is that piece. But the reason I want to go to Australia is I have tried to go three separate times, and it has never worked out. There is a peanut butter restaurant in Sydney, Australia that I would like to visit. Yes, I will travel for food and I would like to go there. They have, you know how they have those taps that have like chocolate or nacho cheese. They have one, but it's peanut butter. Like if you know me, you know that this is a place that I need to visit. And honest, if I'm straight up honest with y'all, the entire reason I want to visit Australia is to go to that restaurant. Now, because of the cost and the time involved to get there, I would probably see some other stuff. When I had previously researched my trip, I very much was trying to curate a trip that all of the tourist things I did were with companies that were Indigenous owned and Indigenous ran. But my main reason for going to Australia is to go to the peanut butter bar in Sydney, Australia. Yeah. No, Mia would not be able to go to Australia because, again, remember what I told y'all yesterday, island countries want your animal to go into quarantine, and Miss Thing cannot do quarantine. So, Finland for the Northern Lights, Iceland for the summer and the geology and the sun never setting, Australia to go to the peanut butter bar. I would go back to, okay, number four, I would go back to Cuba. Um, and I've done Cuba twice. I'm good if I never ever go back. But if money was no object and I could maybe create a slightly more comfortable experience, I would go back solely to like take a week or two of salsa classes. Like I would want to come back and be like a master salsa dancer. Um, y'all know I did two vlogs from the time I went to Cuba last Thanksgiving, and the we did Cuban dance, so we did a variety of dances, but the Cuban salsa, like there is nothing like it. So I would go back to Cuba for a week or two, just that's all I would do. I would eat roasted pig because the no, I don't think anybody does pork the way the Cubans do. And I would take salsa classes every day. That's what I would do. Um, let's see. South of France, cruising Norwegian fjords, Copenhagen, the Serengeti, St. Petersburg, Christmas markets, hike New Zealand, eat in Peru, revisit Ireland. Um, and the last one on my list, okay, so y'all know I used to live in China. And for a long time, I think I'm trying to think if this was before I lived there. I mean, before I had visited or after. I think it was before I had ever visited. I'd always said like China was the kind of place that I would like to do like on a cruise ship. And I don't even like cruises. Honestly, I detest them. But because I wanted to just be like on the boat, hop off, do a thing, get back on the boat. I didn't want to like be in China, which is really ironic because I ended up living there for a year and a half. Um, but another country that sort of fits into that category for me is India. When I lived in Kuwait, because of the location of Kuwait, traveling to a lot of Africa and Asia was a lot easier. And less expensive than coming from this hemisphere. And so I think I had planned for like spring break the year I was teaching there that I was going to go to India, but y'all know how that story ends. I did not make it the year. So I did not get to go to India. But as I was doing the research for it, um, I got less and less, I'm not going to say interested, but I just less enthusiastic we'll say that. I got less and less enthusiastic about spending a lot of time in India. And so, if money was no object, I would go to India for 1 day. I would literally fly in to Amritsar, which is in the north. I would go and I would visit the Golden Temple. It's the Sikh temple. It is it's gorgeous. They have, is it the largest kitchen in the world there? I can't remember, but they have a really, really big kitchen where everybody works and they produce all this food to feed everybody and feed people who don't have food. Um, and I would leave that evening. So that would be an expensive trip. And it might surprise you that, like, visiting the Taj Mahal is not on my list for India. Nope. None of the other sites are of interest to me. Sorry about that, y'all. um, I would go to the Sikh Golden Temple in Amritsar, fly in for the day, and fly out that night. That is what I would do. And so that's, I guess, if we wanted to call these bucket list trips, because these are big things that are super duper expensive. Although of the five that I've listed, probably I like the first four will probably happen. I have not done the research on flights to figure out how to make that happen so that I can fly in early in the morning and fly out and only spend a day in India. Um, but I don't I feel like these are all very, very possible. Very possible. Okay. Let me see. I might literally consider spending 1 night in a Mexican jail before going back to China again. You might not be alone in this. I don't know what it would take to get me to set foot in China again. I'm trying to think of, like, how much money would need to be wired to my account before I went. And I can't think of a sum that would be enough to get me there. I really, really can't. Okay. All right. I don't see in, oh, hold on. I started a few. I don't see any questions, but I did want to comment about this comment. There are some remote towns in Switzerland and Italy that will pay you to move there due to population decline. Yes, there are, but I did some research into most of these programs, and what I found out is they do not offer visa assistance. So it would be up to you to get the legal right to be able to live in one of those countries. Um, Now, my opinion, I think given Italy's demographic issues, Italy's population is the oldest. It is shrinking. It has been shrinking for decades. They are going to have to be more active. There's somebody, the new, is she the president, prime minister, or whatever? She's starting some programs to hopefully encourage people to have babies. But I think in addition to paying people to move to those small towns and, the €1 houses and all of that, I think Italy is going to have to, that they will probably start to offer visa assistance. But right now, I could not find it of any of those move to our country, we'll pay you to be here things. I couldn't find any of them that included the residency visa. It was, you could live here, we'll pay you, but you got to already have the legal right to be here. Okay. Let's see. Um, the seven ancient wonders of the world. I've seen a few of them, but I'm actually not pressed. Uh, like they would be, it would be nice. Like I've been to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Uh, I have, okay, not the ancient world. What are the ones for the modern? I've been to Giza. I have, isn't Chichen Itza one of them? I've been to the Colosseum in Rome. I've been to the Great Wall. Oh my gosh, I went to the wall in Rome. I've not been to Petra yet. I've not been to Machu Picchu. And I told y'all I'm not overly interested in the work it would take to Taj Mahal. The Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. I've been living in Latin America for a long time. I've seen a lot of Jesus statues. I don't know that I'm that pressed to be in that one. And Machu Picchu, I have some interest in, but in hearing the work that it would take to get there, I'm not interested in hiking and doing all of that. So that's probably not going to happen for me. Can you give any details on China? Why it's so bad? Just curious. Um, I did a video on this channel. It's a live, and it says I think the thumbnail says something about why China was traumatic for me. It was a night I was supposed to have a guest, and the guest wasn't able to make it, and so the conversation went into why China was so horrible. So if you search through the videos on my channel, you put in China, you'll find the video. It's just it's different, and it's different in a way that I do not enjoy. We'll say that. I have been to the Czech Republic. It was the last place I visited in Europe before I had to fly back to China at the beginning of the pandemic. I enjoyed Prague. I hopped a bus down to Bratislava, which is the capital of Slovakia. Um, so yeah, let's see. I'm pretty tapped out on Western Europe because I feel like I've done everything except for like I wouldn't mind going to uh, Luxembourg, but I don't have a good reason to be there yet. So I haven't made an effort to get there. Okay, let's see. Why do I detest cruises? Okay, this is my take on cruises. A cruise is about getting there. It's not really about the destination because the way most cruises are set up, you spend very little time in the destination. So I find that people who enjoy cruising are people who enjoy staying at the resort. Like being at the hotel is the exciting part of the vacation for them. I want to be at the place. I want the time it takes me to get to the place to be as short as possible. Cruises are not for people who want to hurry up and get somewhere. So for me personally, being on a cruise felt like being in prison. I was so happy to get off that damn boat. Um, so it's really not my kind of vibe. There's a lot of manufactured fun on most large cruise lines. I am not into that. So I do think I might give it another try if I were to like go to Alaska because I hear that like, that's a good way to see things up there because Alaska is one of the states. It is actually the only state in the United States where the capital is not connected. There's like no road that connects to the capital because Alaska is such a rugged place and getting around is not the easiest. Often you have to fly or take a boat or what have you. I think visiting Alaska, doing a cruise might be the way to go. But I have not done that because it would require me I would need to do some research on the various cruise lines and find one that just would not make me hate myself. Uh, so yeah. Okay. And then there is also this, like, I see that the cruise ships, they're like bigger and bigger ships. And I think, okay, there are 8,000 people on this boat. Where's all the sewage going? Like, it's just, that does not sound like fun for me. So, um, yeah, see, so you have to know who you are as a traveler. And I know very well who I am. And how that all works. All right, y'all. That's all we got for today. Thanks for watching. Just a final reminder, just in case, if you were thinking about signing up for the workshop that I am doing next week on the 18th, which I think is Monday. Yeah, that is Monday. Registration for that is about getting ready to close. It's called Do the Math. It's for the folks who are trying to figure out their financial freedom number. If you go to my website, pickygirltravelstheworld.com/coaching, you can get the information there. I think that's it, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow at 2 p.m.